The long-anticipated meeting between UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and US President Donald Trump unfolded at the White House, blending diplomatic pleasantries with sharp undertones of power play. From the moment Starmer stepped into the Oval Office, Trump made it clear who was in control, a display he has repeatedly put on in meetings with world leaders. Using the opportunity to assert dominance and reinforce his own messaging, the US president ensured the conversation unfolded on his terms. While the leaders exchanged courtesies, the atmosphere turned tense when Starmer pushed for a firm US military commitment to Ukraine. Trump, ever the deal-maker, deflected the request with a quip that left the room unsettled. Could you take on Russia by yourselves? His remark, wrapped in humor, carried a clear message. Ukraine should not count on unconditional US support under his leadership.
But they don't need help. You look at their career, you have done very well over the years, haven't you?
We have. I'm very proud of our country. And but we've also always been there backing each other up between our two countries. That is why this is the greatest alliance for prosperity and security I think the world has ever seen. Whenever necessary, we've absolutely backed each other up, and that's at the core.
Could you take on Russia by yourselves?
Well,
beyond Ukraine, Starmer faced the challenge of navigating trade negotiations and securing security assurances from the US. His efforts to dissuade Trump from imposing tariffs on the UK were met with indifference, as the American president made it clear that his counterpart had tried, before delivering a cryptic jab about the Prime Minister's efforts.
Thank you. Mr. President, did our Prime Minister persuade you not to put tariffs on the UK? And if I may, Prime Minister, do you think that Vladimir Putin is a man who will keep his word? Thanks.
He tried. He was working hard, I'll tell you that. He earned whatever the hell they pay him over there. But he tried.
Diplomatic tensions escalated further when Vice President JD Vance was asked to defend his recent remarks at the Munich Security Conference, where he accused the UK of curbing free speech. Rather than dismissing the controversy, Trump put Vance in the spotlight, allowing him to reinforce his criticism.
In his remarks at the Munich Security Conference, Vice President Vance condemned free speech violations in the UK, particularly. Could you respond? What is your message?
I have an idea. We have the man right here. Come on. Let's go, JD. We're putting you on stage.
Great. Yeah, look, I said what I said, which is that we do have, of course, a special relationship with our friends in the UK and also with some of our European allies, but we also know that there have been infringements on free speech that actually affect not just the British. Of course, what the British do in their own country is up to them, but also affect American technology companies and by extension American citizens. So that is something that we'll talk about today at lunch.
we've had free speech for a very, very long time in the United Kingdom, and it will last for a very, very long time. Well, no, I mean, certainly we wouldn't want to reach across US citizens, and we don't, and that's absolutely right. But in relation to free speech in the UK, I'm very proud of our history there.
On Ukraine, Trump painted an uncertain picture of the war's future. He made clear that NATO membership for Kyiv was off the table, arguing that even entertaining the idea had played a role in igniting the conflict.
Mr. President, the Europeans want Ukraine to be part of NATO as part of this deal. Are you willing to budge on that at all, or is it a firm?
Well, I could be very nice and say, oh, well, we'll work to it. Look, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. That's what started this whole thing. Biden said that, and all of a sudden the guns started. That was one of the primary reasons this started. And this was long before President Putin. They never said it was an impossibility. So we can say, oh, gee, well, we'll try, but that's something that's just not going to happen. And then the other question they ask is about the land. Will you get your land back? Well, they've fought long and hard on the land, and you and I will be discussing that, and we're going to certainly try and get as much as we can back. But on the NATO, it's just not...
In response, Starmer made a striking announcement. Britain was prepared to put boots on the ground and planes in the air to support Ukraine. The statement signaled a shift in the UK's military stance, indicating that London was ready to shoulder more of the security burden amid waning US commitment.
I'm working closely with other European leaders on this, and I'm clear that the UK is ready to put boots on the ground and planes in the air to support a deal, working together with our allies, because that is the only way that peace will last. Mr. President, in this new era, you're also right that Europe must step up. And let me tell you now, I see the growing threats we face, and so the UK is all in. This year we'll be giving more military aid to Ukraine than ever, and just this week I've set out how we're shouldering more of the security burden. We're already one of the biggest spenders in NATO, and now we're going much further, delivering Britain's biggest sustained increase in defence spending since the Cold War. This isn't just talk, it's action.
The meeting ended as it began. Trump in command, steering the narrative and leaving Starmer with more questions than answers. With NATO's future in flux and Ukraine's fate uncertain, Starmer returned to London facing a stark new reality. Under Trump's leadership, Washington's allies must learn to stand on their own.